The intensified continuity that McQueen suggests for sound analysis is an extension of Bortwell's concept of intensified continuity in visual sense, in which contemporary narrative cinema shows an overt visual exuberance against the presentations of classical cinema. Therefore, new stylistic devices have replaced what is often considered as classical continuity rules that governed mainstream global cinema for nearly a century. As Bortwell puts it, intensified continuity is an intensification of established techniques. It is traditional continuity amped up, raised to a higher pitch of emphasis. Characterized by Bortwell, there are 4 primary cooperative visual techniques of intensified continuity in contemporary cinema. They include quicker cutting with an average shot length between 3 to 6 seconds, bipolar extreme of lens length, closer shot framing, and dynamic camera movements instead of stationary shots. So what encouraged McQueen to propose an intensified continuity in the sonic realm? It actually lies in Bortwell's awareness of considering the role of sound in contemporary cinema aesthetic as important. Being an audio-visual art form, film, along with having more intensive visual presentations, are also becoming louder and noisier. Following Bortwell's visual intensified continuity, similar traits in sonic evolution soon started to be theorized by scholars such as Vanellis and Smith, respectively with the terms intensified audio-visual aesthetics and the sound of intensified continuity. Under such context, McQueen demonstrates how Edgar Wright's films typically reflect Bortwell's intensified continuity. McQueen chose Wright's films to illustrate sonic intensified continuity because, first and foremost, the visual style accord with Bortwell's characterization of intensified continuity. According to McQueen's calculation, Wright's 4 major feature films have an ASL of under 3 seconds. Besides, overt cinematographic devices are thoroughly adopted in his films. Another significant reason is that Wright's stylish use of sound is organically wedded to his visuals.
You can't just make people disappear.
Yes, I can. I'm the chief inspector.
Hence, it is clear that, according to McQueen and Smith, Wright's films demonstrate how sonic and visual intensified continuity can work in tandem. According to McQueen, Wright's sonic intensified continuity style is centered on 2 main strategies: aggressive impact and intricate detail, both of which are employed to embellish cinematic narration. Now I'm going to show some straightforward examples mentioned in McQueen's article of literal intensification in Wright's films. Dynamic contrast isn't new in cinematography. It is used to produce aggressive effects by fast and slow pace. In sonic realm, a juxtaposition of loud and quiet soundscape is similar to the effect of violent motion punching out that intensified camera work can achieve. The increased dynamic range of digital sound can augment the intensity of the dynamic visual contrast. It can hence create a similar aggressive assault to the viewer's ears. By judiciously alternating loud and quiet sounds, the perceived difference between them is increased, so that loud sounds may appear louder to a listener when preceded by relatively quiet sounds.
Somebody get me my board.
Hi. Big fan.
Why wouldn't you be?
Wow. 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 Yes. Totally bailed.
Apart from heightening the impact of editing pattern, sound can also exaggerate camera movement. Visual intensified continuity devices such as whip pans, crush zooms, and rack focuses are often paired with non-diegetic sound effects to simulate the sound of the equipment that is divorced from the character's sound world.
Ed, maybe I should drive.
I've adjusted the seat now.
All right, we'll just, be...
Non-diegetic sound effects are also widely used in high-energy action movies, such as Hot Fuzz. Notice how, right after the shotgun, the rack focus from the extreme close-up of the shotgun muzzle to a squinting. Angry Eyes is synchronized with a metallic sound effect, creating the imagined noise of the shifting focal planes while also conveying the materiality of the weapon. When it comes to intricate detail, a third sonic device, Wright often employs sweetened sound effects. In practice, a diegetic sound effect is rendered so that it no longer seems realistic. However, the hyper-detailed foley work that possesses sound effects with incredible detail and precision can well draw attention to a particular movement and increase dramatic effect. Wright often utilizes sweetened sound effects for comic purpose to convey the narrative or thematic significance of an object or gesture. In Hot Fuzz, the clicking of a ballpoint pen is amplified to sound as menacing as cocking of a gun, to comically heighten the drama of completing procedural paperwork.
You really want to process all this lot?
My pen's running out.
Not a problem.
Building from the sweetening, we're finally getting closer to Baby Driver. Before that, please bear with me just a little longer as I discuss the following two techniques, which were also pointed out in McQueen's article and which I would argue are the most influential in forming the central and more sophisticated technique that is thematically employed in Baby Driver. Sonic subtlety and punctuation. The subtle use of sound we showed earlier can also contribute to world building. In Shaun, the paired steadicam long takes that follow Shaun walking from his flat to the corner store and the sound mixing approach, diegetic music, dialogue, and non-diegetic score, and numerous other diegetic sound effects are layered with careful shifts and emphases to produce a dynamic soundscape.
When a city becomes that huge, disconcerting, police sirens blaring past or alarms going off, or even somebody screaming in the distance, nobody necessarily does anything about it.
They don't react to it.
You don't react to it. It's just like sort of, this is like sort of the sound of a big city. So the idea of like this being a sort of a growing sense of unease during like a sort of a zombie epidemic was really interesting. And just the ideas of like car alarms going off and nobody to switch them off, or like burglar alarms going off. Like sounds of smashing glass in the distance, sounds of helicopters going above. So we built up a lot of these soundscapes. The characters themselves couldn't see them.
No, I haven't got any change. I didn't even have enough at the fucking shop. Oh dear.
Scoring with sound effects. Wright tends to score his films with post-produced sound effects. Even his simple scenes have rhythm of small, low-level sound effects running through them. Wright's sound team often synchronizes ambient sounds with pertinent actions or lines of dialogue.
No, I'm afraid the end is nigh.
So, as previous examples have demonstrated, it has become clear, contextually, the idea of thematically musicalizing Baby Driver comes from the much shorter experimental sequences that were attempted in his previous movies. The sequences mentioned above show that Wright is a sonic-conscious director, one who has the ability to use sound as an intellectual storytelling tool to interact with the image to present a cinematic experience with a tandem approach. Wright, who tested out his various sonic ideas in his previous movies, finally pushes his combined techniques to an extreme in Baby Driver, especially by blending what McQueen terms as sonic subtlety and punctuation and scoring with sound effects. Wright has created a film that in theme has characters consciously in rhythm with the transdiegetic music. This meticulous synchronization, in a more advanced and creative sense, makes use of off-screen sounds scored with the transdiegetic pop songs as a sonic unity. It works in interrelation with on-screen motion and action that function in triurnal. This unique triurnal approach is achieved through an exaggeration compared to the rhythmic characteristics in Wright's previous movies. It is achieved in a way that, in this film, not only the central character Baby but also the other supporting characters are rhythmically constructed or musicalized in multiple scenes to provide the audio-visual aesthetic without damaging the typical style of cinematic narration. In every car chase, transdiegetic music and composed diegetic sounds, such as police sirens, engine revs, cart skids, brake locks, drifting sounds, gunshots, dog barks, trains, stylishly match and synchronize with the image motion like a symphony. For the first car chase sequence, the song is tempo mapped. In doing so, an audio track was built to make sure the music and sound go with the beat.
The sirens, for example, in all the car chases, the sirens whether they're the two tones or the bleep bleeps, they're always syncopated to the music. The John Spencer piece, the bell bottoms, it's not just a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. It changes throughout the whole piece of music because it's musicians playing live and feeling it as they're doing it. So we tempo map, say, the sirens to the beat, but if you do that, then the siren itself, rather than just going woo woo woo, it goes woo 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 woo. It changes and it sounds ridiculous.
The Tequila one is a great example because building up to this gunfight, but it isn't like we shot hours and hours of action footage. We shot specifically for those beats, and we even like edited an animatic to the music track that we'd done, so that we knew like
you knew exactly
this guy is doing these 3 shots, then Jamie as Bats is doing these 2 shots, then it goes back to these guys doing these 2 shots. Always trying to create things that were on beat, always looking for real sounds that actually happen, whether he's like flicking money or Kevin Spacey's counting money.
Sure.
I think those things, you're always looking for those things where you can create an extra sort of motif that makes sense in the scene. In the first scene with the bank heist, it's like the alarms kind of kick in at the right point in the music.
For example, the Harlem Shuffle, when Baby's going to get the coffee, there's a whole load of things that are happening off screen.
There's a tremendous amount of sound design work that's filtered into
there's like
that
a
later
road
that
drill,
song.
a pneumatic
Right,
road
yeah.
drill, someone drilling, we're not necessarily seeing visually,
Yeah.
we can hear off screen.
That was one of the ones where we'd done this rough kind of sound effects mix. There was like chatter, like, so we'd put like sort of people chatting in the street. And then I thought, oh, that's kind of, so we could do a thing where, do this like Robert Altman-esque thing where you're walking through other people's conversations and you hear them. The people in that sequence who do talk are like mic'd up for the entire shot. Everybody could hear the song, so when they talk, they are talking in rhythm with the song. So the street preacher that you can hear, we recorded him for the whole thing.
Oh, that's interesting.
And so you can hear him like when he's not even in vision.
Sure.
And then you see him, and then he's still behind. At the start of the shot, there's the guy outside the store saying like, "Where are you?"
Right.
You know. And then at the end of it, he's berating that guy and says, "Be on time."
Taking what McQueen has identified as Wright's demonstration of Sonic Intensified Continuity, this audiovisual essay suggests that in Baby Driver, the sound and image are not just working in tandem, but instead, a triangle approach is used, in which the off-screen source sounds are scored with the transdiegetic pop songs as a sonic unity are interrelated with the on-screen motion and actions to function in triangle. To push this a bit further, though without being a main argument in this audiovisual essay, as this triangle approach has made characters to perform music using other means such as body movements, is it possible that it's challenging the notion of the genre in the way that Baby Driver can also be understood as a metamorphosed musical and not merely as a crime comedy?
Then I get real close.